Okay.
All right, we're going to give it a shot.
Now I'm going to see if this is going to work. Hold on. Nope.
What were you trying to do?
Lighten up the thing. Remember how I showed you?
Oh.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi, son.
Yeah, it said, but that was when you're taking it. Oh, wait a minute.
Vicky's learning some settings on the iPhone on how to lighten,
Well, it's pretty light.
lighten
right now.
and darken pictures.
Tessa, did you
whatnot.
get your door fixed?
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday night, June the 15th. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great weekend. We are busy.
Today's Charles Wooster's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday, Charles. Toast to you. Nothing alcoholic, unfortunately. So, hope you guys, hope you guys had a great weekend. This morning's video was, I think, part 3 on my new shop sign. And I've got the next one will be on Wednesday, and then there's more beyond that. What's so funny?
Jason, he signs down his wife's Julie
Harrison, yeah.
He said, "Hi guys, it's Jason, not Julie, Miss Vicky." Thank you, Jason. Hi, Frank.
He was trying to help you out rather
hi,
than
Tom.
stumbling. Hey, you guys.
William Higgins from Lake Park, Georgia. Tessa.
Good evening.
Okay, sorry.
Good evening. Good morning if you're maybe good morning if you're overseas.
John Jernigan said there's no camera settings that can fix what we're seeing.
Thank you, John. Love you too, man. Okay, so anyway, if you guys have questions on the shop sign or anything else, let me know. I'm going to jump right into. I've had this question. You're like? Oh, I thought you were getting ready to say something.
No.
I've had this question a few times, but I don't recall that I've ever answered it. I've got one question and an issue that. What did I do with that picture? Oh yeah, there it is. So see if you can see this. I don't know if you're going to have to take it close to you, but right in here. So the question is from Richard Barclay. He says, I need a bit of advice. I have attached a photo of the issue I'm having when I'm doing the round over edge, which I think is actually a bevel. It looks more like a bevel or a chamfer. The end grain always looks rough and chipped.
Sit it.
Huh?
I got it.
Oh, okay.
I got
It's brand new. The bit is brand new, and I'm using and I'm running the router at full speed. But no matter what I've tried, I keep getting this rough edge on the grain. Could you please give me some advice on what I'm doing wrong here, as I spent a lot of time and hand sanding trying to make it look better? I've had that happen before, Richard, and I'll explain it to you.
He said that he just wanted to say thanks for all the help and advice you've given him over the last couple of weeks.
Oh, terrific. Terrific. Well, I hope this helps even more, Richard, because I've got some stuff.
The way you're holding it, all I see is words.
Oh, okay. Through the back, because
Yeah.
I'm reading it. Anyway, so he's using premium pine, and it's dry, so that's not an issue. So let me see if I can explain this correctly, because this is something that I've had in previous, but I've kind of figured out generally if I go in one direction, I'm not thinking, if I go in one direction and it tries to tear out, I'll go in the other direction. One of the things that I told Richard, and he may corroborate this for me, is go in multiple passes. Because it looks like Richard was kind of taking quite a bit all in one pass. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the direction. And I actually printed out some things off of, if you guys are YouTubers and watch woodworking on YouTube, you probably know who Stumpy Nubs is. He's got a great channel, so educational. I've watched lots of his videos. I'm a big admirer of Stumpy Nubs. Anyway, go watch his video, Which Way to Cut with a Router. And I actually took a couple screenshots off of some diagrams. So I I didn't. It took me a long time to realize the difference between a climb cut and a push cut. So let me show you a couple pictures here. I want to make sure.
So Andy back to me.
Yeah.
Says, hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. Watch your 6.
Hey Andy, good to hear from you, buddy.
Richard said several passes made a big difference.
Good. So let me show you what.
I'm gonna bring that in instead.
Yeah.
Of trying to,
So if you look at this, this is what's called. Gosh, I'm not sure. That is called a climb cut. No, excuse me. That's called a push cut. So that would be going, and I'm looking at it backwards now. That would be going counterclockwise. Let me see. Yeah, so this way you would actually be going, if you look at that, you'd be going counterclockwise. Is that right? Yes, counterclockwise. When I'm looking backwards. Anyway, what happens is when you go counterclockwise, you are going to have more control because the router wants to go clockwise. And you guys that have been using a router very much, if you go one way, it wants to grab and go. It wants to go clockwise because that's the direction the router bit is turning. But if you go counterclockwise, like this, you'll have more control, but the chance of tear out is higher if you go counterclockwise. So and on this video that Stumpy, that I just talked about, Stumpy says that if you go counterclockwise, again, you'll have better control and it's much safer to do that. However, if you have a problem with tear out, number one, go light passes. But if you have a problem with tear out, then you want to go the direction that the router wants to go. The issue with that is that it can be dangerous if you're not really paying attention because it will want to run on you. So this is the opposite. This is the climb cut, and this is going in a clockwise direction. And you'll see that the way the router bit is, it wants to pull into the wood. What it wants to do is it wants to push the grain of the board into the edge of the board, which makes it much less likely to get tear out if you go in a climb cut, which is a clockwise direction. Again, it's dangerous only in the fact that if you don't have control of it, then it can take off on you. It can run on you. So instinctively, what I have done, and it just comes from working with a router for so many years, I don't even think about it. But I've got a couple videos that we've done that I think will really help. But instinctively, like you guys know, when I'm carving sides, I like to have my hands down on the board. Well, that is another just kind of a byproduct and a bonus if you are doing a climb cut and the router wants to go and travel away from you. If it wants to kind of grab and go, by having your hand on the board as you're making that cut, it makes a huge difference from a control standpoint. So I was out there playing with it again today. I used some hardwoods and different things, and I just instinctively want to go clockwise because I know I get a better cut that way. Again, it's more likely to grab on you, but as long as you have a hold of it and you have control, and especially with our base plates where you have your hands right down on the wood. And again, if you watch Stumpy's video, you'll notice that almost all routers, the handles aren't necessarily down close to the wood. They're up here. But if you have your hands close to the wood, actually touching the wood the way we do, it's just not a problem keeping control of it. Again, go in light passes. But if you go in a clockwise direction, then what will happen is you'll have less chance of that board wanting to tear out. So Richard, if you're still getting tear out, if let's say you go with a heavy cut again and you're still getting tear out, go the opposite direction. Try going, and I don't know, we didn't even talk about what direction you were going, but my hunch is you were going counterclockwise, because that's what most woodworkers will tell you, to go in a counterclockwise direction with a push cut, because you have better control, because the router doesn't want to grab and go on you, which is what scares a lot of people with a router. But if you have your hands on the board, I'm probably sounding like a broken record, but it really makes a huge difference. And I didn't realize it until I really started thinking about it, that my hands are always in contact with the board. And most routers, if you don't have a base plate that puts your hands down on the board, most routers, you've got your hands above the board, and so it's just you holding on to that router. You don't have any connection with the material itself. It makes a huge difference. So anyway, but I thought that the way that Stumpy had these diagrams on here, I thought it was very helpful. Now the videos that I'm talking about that we did, oh yeah, Dad did a great video on cutting shapes, and that's video #128. And he will talk about when you're cutting with a router and you're cutting shapes. You're not doing edges, but you're cutting shapes. If you do a push cut, what happens is it will want to pull the router into the board. So you're much better, it's much easier to follow that shape when you're cutting with a guide bushing and you're trying to cut a shape in a board. If you go the opposite way, if you try a climb cut when you're trying to cut shapes, it will just drift away from the board, and it's almost impossible to follow that pattern. But go watch video 128 that Dad did. He did an absolute fantastic, I hadn't seen it in a while, he had a fantastic job explaining cutting shapes with a router on 128.
Frank says, I'm amazed the router manufacturers have never figured this out and made their bases the right way. It's great to be tutored by a pair of geniuses.
Well, I don't know about that, Frank, but it is kind of,
They make them, they don't use them.
Yeah, and you know, most people don't use them for what we use them for. But having your hand in contact with the board is a huge deal.
Tessa wants to know, we're going counterclockwise, smooth out the end grain of the board.
If you go counterclockwise, now I actually have to think about it. If you go counterclockwise, no. You want to go clockwise. You want to go clockwise. Now I have to look back. Gosh, it's so easy to get it. You want to go clockwise, Tessa. That's the way you want to go, to smooth out the end grain and avoid that tear out. You want to go clockwise. But again, keep your hands down on that board, because if you go clockwise, it'll want to run on you. So take light passes. If you're trying to do a heavy edge, Roman OG, or even a deep bevel or a deep round over, definitely take multiple passes, because when you go clockwise, what's going to happen is it's going to want to run on you, but it's going to make a smoother edge. It's going to make a smoother cut. The other video is the one that I did on that DIY creators that I made for Glenn, that big round one where it was multicolored, and I did a really deep round over on there. If you watch that video, and I went and watched it today, I was trying to find a video where I was doing a deep edge on something, and that's the one I came across. You'll see my hand is in contact. I'm taking a lot of wood out at a time with that round over, but my hand is in contact with that board the whole time. But again, I'm going clockwise. So anyway, I know it sounds kind of confusing, but go watch these videos, and I think it will really. I'm actually gonna keep these papers, and just so it stays fresh in my mind. If you guys want these, well, you can go to that video. Again, it's Stumpy Nubs. The guy's got a great channel. You guys already know of him, I'm sure. which way to cut with a router. He goes into a lot of detail, a lot more detail than what I'm going into. But again, even Stumpy, and I know his name, but I can't think of it right now, his real name. Even he doesn't talk about being in contact with the board, because he just doesn't. Most woodworkers just don't do that. They just don't. I've always done that, just simply because I can remember being a 12-year-old kid, and you guys know that we have another part of our business where we cut wooden letters and numbers. Well, we cut all of our wooden letters and numbers before we got our Onsword machine. We did it for 10, 15 years with hand routers, literally with a Black & Decker hand router and a template guide. We cut little 3-inch letters, 6-inch letters out of 3/4-inch thick redwood. We cut them completely all the time, thousands and thousands of them with template guides. And so it was always imperative that you had your hands not only on the router but on the material.
His name is James.
James? Stumpy's name is James. I should have known that. Yep.
Frank said.
Yep. Anyway, so questions on this, let me know. This is just something that I wanted to kind of go over, and I knew it was going to be kind of time consuming and detailed. So if you guys have questions on that, email me or ask me here. Let's get into the sign carvers of the day.
I'm just going to zoom and stay right there. So.
Okay. Let me put a rock on here. I don't need that. This one is really cool. Joshua Robbins. This is his third sign.
That's a quack shaft.
Isn't that cool? He made that for his father-in-law, whose name is Donald. 13.5 by 25.5.
Third sign, very cool.
Yeah, I think it's really, really cool. Loved it. Love it. Great job, Joshua. Chad Benton. This one's really neat. These are cabinet doors. And he and his buddy built a fishing camper, and the whole end of the camper they built cabinets, and these are cabinet doors for his cabinet in his 6x12 trailer for fishing, which was really a neat idea. Terrific job, Chad. Great artwork on there. I love it. David Sherman, and he did this for a neighbor. I don't know, does that mess you up when I take that away?
Yeah.
Gets kind of see-through, huh? Mm-hmm. Beautiful board. Great job, David.
Is that cedar?
It looks like cedar to me. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I don't think it is cedar. I think that might be cherry or... I'm not sure.
Okay, we're looking at
I'm not sure. Sorry. It's beautiful, though. It's gorgeous. But that's not cedar. No, that's not cedar.
Marla Busby says, hey, Eric.
Hey, Marla. Donald Spicer. Check that out. So this is for an ROTC student. Graduated from college soon and will be entering the Air Force as an officer.
Wow,
And he
very
made
cool.
this for
That's
him.
Nice.
Great job, Donald. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. That's got our jets on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's our little layout jets. And a first-time sign carver, Henry Blades.
Wow, I'm going to pull that up. I've already flipped it around and we got to see my ugly face. So there you go.
It was probably a nice
That's
change.
A lot of background.
It's a lot of background for a first sign. That is a lot of work. Great job. Beautiful. Just like what they got to see when the camera turned around.
Yeah, gorgeous.
All right, you guys. I guess that is it. Unless we have some comments or questions I can answer.
They're laughing at me.
They're laughing at you?
Leonard Davis says, LOL, Vicky.
So, let's see. What else is going on?
Dan Yoda says, I think you do that on purpose. Honest, Dan, I don't. There's got like a 2-inch little space that I can try and zoom in and out, and I keep hitting the darn button.
All right, guys, any questions? Anything I can answer for you? Let's see. No, I guess that's it. That's all I had. That was it. So tonight is the 15th. We are about less than 60 days away from Vicki and I going to Cleveland, Ohio for Maker Summer School. So we don't have any major details on that yet, but early August.
Will Hackler says, thanks for the light, guys. It'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. Those lights are cool.
Tracy Detweiler says, where's the old Chevy?
The old Chevy is over yonder.
Under the tarp?
Yeah, that's the old Chevy. That's the 58. The 70 is just in the carport. Yeah, I ought to bring her out and wash her up and show you guys a better shot of her. Let's see. God, I was saying something. Oh, yeah. So I think August 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, somewhere around there, Vicki and I are going to be in Cleveland. So if you guys are in and around there, at least that's the plan as of right now. If you guys are going to be in and around Cleveland, Ohio in early to mid August, we're going to be there, and we'd love to meet some of you if you're within distance.
We don't even know where we're going to be yet.
Yeah, we just know Cleveland right now. We don't have our flights booked or hotels or anything yet, but we're going to be doing that very soon. So, and we will be, if everything, I haven't talked to you about this, but October is not that far away. We're going to be doing another class here in October if everything works out right. So, anyway, we'll be announcing more about that. We do have some other announcements coming up soon, hopefully within the next week, and you guys will be hearing about that. Wednesday's video, if you guys like what I've been doing so far on the shop sign, you got to see Wednesdays. Now it's getting good. So,
Richard Barclay says, another great show. Thanks for all the time and effort you guys put in for us.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it. All right, you guys, we are out. So hope you guys are having a great evening. Carry on with your evening. We'll see you here tomorrow night, and we'll have more stuff for you. So if you guys
Michelle Scarandino just got here. Hi, Michelle.
Oh, hey, Michelle.
Okay.
So if you guys have questions, be sure and email them to me, and I'll get to them here on the live. So thanks, guys. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow night.
What's up, Vicki? You have to get me info on that so I can see if I can make that. We'll let you know. We haven't got all the info yet, Tessa, but we will. All right, guys. Good night.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.